revenue generation. Is this a moneymaker?
Well, the fee payers, it has to, the only way we can do this is if it makes enough money to pay for itself. And that's what's happening here, is that the proposal is that the funding to build this is going to come from the future payers of the system.
But do you make extra money to
if
fund other projects?
If it does make net revenue above all of that, then it needs to be put back into the corridor for other improvements. It could be further noise mitigation, landscaping repair, fixes on some of the other places you do. So the answer is, if it does make money, then it goes back in the corridor.
Is this a precursor to turning our freeways into fall holes?
That's not what we're proposing.
Have extra lanes as toll, and pretty soon they're all toll.
That's not what we're proposing.
Yeah, I like to speak to everybody, with all due respect to the gentleman, this is his profession. They are well tuned to change opinions and everything. He is here to get the least path of resistance from us to get from here to here. To him, it's just another city. For us, it's our city. Like Jeff said, 1/3 of people, including myself, are suffering from the noise. What I suggest, we need to concentrate what is important to us. Forget about the toll, forget about everything. You're coming to us and asking for concession. We're telling you these are the terms and conditions that you're going to get from us. Noise abatement, lower pollution of air. If we get that, we should write to our city council, to the mayor, I hope she's here, and lay down the rules, the demand that we want. If you give us that, and we want it in writing, this time in court, signed in front of the judge, then we, yeah, I don't trust these people anymore. Not be personal, I really do. So if anybody, if we have that sort of support, then I think we will be better off.
Mary?
Yeah, I just had a comment. I've read a few of your reports. One, the noise report, and looked to see when you did the studies in Saratoga, and also pulled an unemployment graph from 1990 to 2015. And you pretty well did the study at the peak of unemployment. Very few cars on the road. This is, I'm sorry, it's real small, but this is 1990, this is 2015, 2014 here. This is about when they did the study. Okay, that's one thing. I also read your traffic report, and in the traffic report it references project study report signed off by CalTrans 10/28/10. That report was for you to do your various alternate plans, basically the same thing. And what's disturbing to me, number one, by federal standards, this is a type 1 project. There's no formal EIR. Okay, this is a type 1 project. Number two, this is a $170 million project, which at the Saratoga City Council meeting you said would be completed 2017, I believe?
If we're able to move forward and we find the,
Okay.
set up the financing for this,
Right.
then it could possibly be done by
And
then.
this project study report pretty well states it'll be obsolete in 2023. And in order to not make it obsolete, you will have to raise the toll amounts and change the carpool factor to 3 or more. So people need to know that.
So what Mary's referring to, the process we go through is there's what's called a project study report, and that's a preliminary scoping document that looks at the first initial concepts of various project alternatives, and she's referring to that. It's not an environmental document. It doesn't go into environmental analysis. It looks at the scope of the general schedule, cost, and scope of a project and what types of alternatives, and then from that you actually go into an environmental process where we're at. So the fact that the project is, we took alternatives that were identified in that preliminary report and took them forward into the environmental document. So right now it looks like that this is a project that will provide a lot of congestion and mitigate a lot of congestion problems in the project in the corridor, and so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, my name is Stanley Gross, former council member in Saratoga. Former council member in Saratoga and member of a group of citizens since it's been in existence for many years, Restore Saratoga. And at a recent meeting of the steering committee, Restore Saratoga voted to ask that you have an EIR. All the issues that Mary raised, you haven't addressed. You haven't talk about congestion management. We want to know what effect this is going to have on us now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, and 20 years from now. And the only vehicle that can really give us that kind of information, truthfully, is an EIR. And I can't understand why at this point you've done a negative deck and not agreed to do an EIR on this project.
The level of analysis that we did for every one of the technical areas that we looked at is the same as an EIR. You do an EIR if there is a significant impact beyond a mitigated level. There is we found in all of the different various studies, from traffic to noise to air quality to visual to biological to everything, there is not a significant impact in the proposed project. So you do an EIR if you have a significant impact, and none of the technical analyses, which are the same level as if you had to do an EIR, found that. So that's why we don't need to do an EIR. The level of analysis is the same.
Marty over here.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, I'm hearing a lot about Saratoga, and I think it's terrific that there's such an outpouring of the residents, but Los Gatos is affected, and my neighbors in Los Gatos are severely affected because we're not at ground level, we're on a little foothill, so the sound actually travels way up to our community, and the particles that are in the air, the particulate matter that's created from the traffic, settles where we are, because we've got the trees and we've got the hill, and it goes over the sound wall and up into our area. And I just need to make it clear that there are Los Gatos residents, and I haven't heard anything about any of these studies being done there.
It's done for the entire corridor. All of the technical reports are up here, and we can make those available. These are our one copy, but we can certainly make that available via disk or on the website for every one of the technical analysis.
There's a woman in the back that, I can't see your name.
Jill.
Jill.
One big reason this won't work is that if you put the lanes in the middle, that land is gone for any future use. And your buses will be in gridlock along with all the other cars. Yes, it will.
No,
Are you willing to go back and have an alternative plan? Because I think Cupertino would like you to do that.
The way this works is by using this electronic tolling in a dynamically priced system, and how we're proposing this is to actually keep those express lanes moving at a minimum of 45 miles an hour all the time. And you do that by what I was just describing, is the geometric arrangement,
So
the
by
pricing.
that
So by
response-
putting buses into those corridors, it actually will work very well.
So by that
It has
response, you're
worked
not willing.
everywhere else that this has
Excuse
been
me.
done, so I can only give you
So
that
by
kind of
that
fact.
response, you're not willing to go back for an
Well,
alternative?
I
method?
think that what we do is we respond to what is needed for that corridor. So if the level of development in Los Gatos, Saratoga, and Cupertino, and parts of San Jose rises to the level of what needs is to support a light rail system, we're certainly willing to
I
look at
guess
that,
you
but
haven't
right
been
now you
on
don't
that
have
part of
that.
the freeway.
sorry.
It sounds like you haven't been on that part of the freeway
There's a
yourself.
woman in green that has had her hand up.
During commute time.
Putting aside the fact that it appears we shouldn't be having this conversation in the first place because an agreement was reached many decades ago. What about the issue of lights? I understand that each of these toll points is going to have floodlights, which is going to cause light pollution. What about the heavy traffic which might be brought in if you have to get federal funding? What about the width of the lanes? I seem to remember reading some of the lanes are going to have to go narrower by about a foot. That's surely going to lead to more accidents. And how the hell are we supposed to get onto these express buses? I mean, if there was a light railway, I can see how one might be able to go on the underpass and get onto it. I'm not going to be trying to cross the freeway to get onto a bus. Where are people going to get onto these buses, and how are they going to benefit?
Well, let's go back to, the first one was the lights, right? So there are gonna be some lights in the median, same height as the lights that are out there right now on the on and off ramp, so that's no higher than that. They're gonna be specifically pointed towards just lighting up those center lanes. There is some signs that are gonna go into the median to instruct motorists when and how to use the facility, so all that's gonna be in the median. So then the next question was about heavy vehicles. There's no change in the truck ban, so that's not changing. That's correct. There's no change in the truck ban. I think that was asked over here. And then the next question was, the width of the lanes. Freeway lanes range from 12 to 11 feet, and I think in some instances there may be 11-foot lanes, but that's actually fairly common. There are no big trucks in those lanes, so in the express lanes, it's actually still a safe situation. It's not going to increase accidents because of the lane width.
How about access to the buses?
I'm sorry.
Wait, you didn't finish your.
I'm sorry, was there another piece of that? Oh, how do you get it? Oh, so depending on where the demand is, buses are flexible enough to react to that demand, and they can get off. They can drive off the freeway to pick up past. They can do that. So they,
How would one use an express bus if you can't park your car somewhere to use it?
There are places that you could pick up and use express buses, and it's taking the people, primarily their express bus up into the Jockbridge areas, but they pick up people in all sorts of areas right now. What we want to do is actually expand on that system and service to actually add more. So yes, it would require us to actually have more places for people to park, or places to be, the buses can be picked up. But they get out of the lane just like any other vehicle. They would then exit and go to a transit stop place for people to get in.
Marty Clevenger is coming up, she's gonna say something.
Okay, the reality is that this plan is not going to work because the valley is expanding, they're building more facilities. We need something besides cars. You can't solve congestion with more roads. And we have never had the leadership to try to get some kind of alternative. That's what we have to work for. Because I was on the council in 1989 when we negotiated this agreement. And you said it's been in the works a long time. At that time, the one hope that we had was that corridor down the middle for light rail. And we believed, it's in the contract, it's there. And how you could call an express bus modern transit is beyond me. I don't think it's true. But the thing is that I'm not sure, I don't know how we can stop this. I'd like to ask the representative how we can stop this, because all of the answers that he gives are foolish. You know, I mean, the light, the decibel reading isn't right. And we signed this agreement with the confidence that the one thing that we were able to negotiate, because Saratoga was the only city that opposed that freeway. And then the manufacturing group came in here and they passed a vote that said the citizens of Saratoga wanted that freeway. We were negotiating from a very disadvantageous position. And the one thing was that they wouldn't fill up the center corridor. And now that seems to be gone. And that doesn't seem to be justice to me.
I would like to make that. I want to know who, by specific name, made this decision.
The decision is still yet to be an environmental process, or? This is, the sponsor is actually VTA, so we have the statutory authority to actually put the express lanes into the corridors. And that we developed a whole program of express lanes in the valley, especially these two corridors, 85 and 101 and 237. And we took that to our VTA board of directors a number of years ago, spent a number of years outreach to stakeholders and other parties. And then our board approved the program. Now, what has also gone into that is all of the long-range transportation planning for the county for the last, a number of, probably 8 years has also included express lanes in these corridors. So it's been both a long-range plan and actually then
And if we
specific to
object,
that.
This is your long-range
What
plan
happened?
that you have
That's correct,
published.
right.
This does not mention about adding additional.
2040, which is,
2040 is not
yeah.
out for another 6 to 8 months, I've talked with.
it's already, the projects that have been approved already by the board, because they're actually in the regional transportation plan that MTC has.
what happened if we object?
Well, I think that's what we're wanting to make sure you understand, where we can take comments and actually have a formal response back, but it is part of the environmental process
That's
too.
part of your eminent domain? You,
No, we don't, we're not, there's no right of way needed for this project, but
I need to know.
yeah. We're not trying to establish any forces.
the VTA Board of Directors are the ones that are, we're the sponsor of this project.
As I look at the
So
board
it's
of
VTA.
directors and the makeup of the board of directors, it looks like they're predominantly from South San Jose.
They're made up of representatives from the entire county.
There's a few other people, but most of them are from South San Jose. And what does that mean to us? I'm gonna stop for just a minute, and we'll come back to the women in the white in the back, and then Jeff. But, I wanted to just make sure that you know that we have Howard Miller here for the city of Saratoga Council. We have Chuck Page here, city of
I
Saratoga
think we have the
Council.
mayor here too, no?
We have, Mr. Krasinski from Los Gatos, but he may have gone. He may have gone. But,
And Emily Law.
Paul is here. Oh, thank you,
The
Emily.
mayor is here, good.
And, I also wanted to say right now that the city of Saratoga, just at 3:30 today, responded in an 18-page, very well-written letter to VTA on this.
Sherry?
Yes.
The entire document is this big. We responded with over 300 pages of questions and stuff to VTA. There's a cover letter. There is the letter that you mentioned that Emily worked with them on, and then all the staff supporting documentation. I have not, everybody knows I read everything, but I haven't had a chance to read this. And I know VTA has not had a chance to read it, but if you read just the cover letter that Emily wrote,
Is that on the website? Is that the
Maybe,
website?
maybe you could read us the cover letter.
the
I think
cover
that
letter,
would be
the
helpful.
cover letter is really, really, really long. But
Okay,
all-
that's all right.
But wait a minute. Work with the mayor, we'll figure out how to get it posted, and if anybody wants to come see it, or I can pass it around, but it won't take.
No, just put it on the website.
It's
It's
already
already, it's already on the website.
It's already on the website, but all the interesting questions that everybody raised have been,
Saratoga.us.
Including the noise level?
included, especially the noise.
Good.
But everybody needs to make sure they send their feedback into VCA as well.
That's a question about
But
that.
they listen.
So for those of us who are less familiar with the
Just a
system,
moment.
if I can ask one question, so for those of us who are less familiar with the system, all of us clearly in Saratoga don't want this to go forward. I think you're hearing that loud and clear. Help us understand therefore what that process is for us as Saratogans to formally lodge that objection and protest. If you can just help us understand, I'm not familiar with that personally, I don't know if you take 2 minutes just to help us understand that.
So all projects take 15 different phases, and we're on phase 2. Someone wants me to see it. We're on phase 2 right now of the project, which is the environmental point. And I know I'm the broken record, and everybody's gotten this in email from me. Get the email address, send your questions in, be they noise, be they landscaping, be they air pollution, be they particulate matter, which is in Emily's cover letter, light pollution, congestion, all of those things should be put down in emails. You have, somebody reminded me that it's till Friday
At
to
5.
send these in
At 5.
to VTA.
That's not right.
It
Why
is-
don't you give us such a short notice?
Maybe another week's extension.
The public comment period has been open for 60 days.
How are we supposed to know that?
It was advertised in newspapers.
New York Times, it was advertised in New York Times, Washington Post.
All I can say is where we are today, and when everybody found out, I can't help right now, but what I can say is you have 4 days for step number 2 of 12 to get your acting
Then what? Okay.
Together.
Well, the reason is because they have to respond to those comments. Now, there may be
How?
50 people with the same comment in a
How do
response
they-
document.
The
Okay,
environmental
but
process
is that
requires
where
us
it
that any of the
stops?
comments we receive, we actually will be responding in writing to every comment
but
received
what?
that goes through.
No,
the
so
process.
let me
But you're
let-
responding to us right now.
No, let me finish.
So how does that,
That's
how
what
does
we
this-
have, that's the process for this phase, and that's, we have to respond in writing to every comment.
There are probably environmental related lawyers in the room, and maybe I can look at some of them and they can nod. This makes the basis by which we can challenge elements of the project. And so this is where we are right now, and that's why it's, you see me, Chuck, and Emily, who hates to yell at me because she's more polite than Chuck and I. But this is why we're just agitated. Please get involved and please send stuff, because now is that part of the opportunity. There'll be 11 more steps after this.
Howard, does this have to go to CalTrans also, the comments?
I would send it to CalTrans.
Somebody give the official email.
Yeah.
If you go to the city of Saratoga, just put in Google, City of Saratoga, California, you'll come right to the City of Saratoga's site. And right on the site is a notice that they have responded, and there are links, direct links into their response in that site. And that was just posted at, as far as I know, Emily just sent me a message at 3:20 today. And so you can go to that and see what they said. It was a very detailed response. And there are several aspects to it. A letter